We are called to order. This work session, regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. Madam Clerk.
In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this work session regular meeting of the Franklin Township Council was made by the posting on the bulletin board in the municipal building, posted on the Township's website, and electronically transmitted to the officially designated newspapers, indicating that this work session regular meeting would take place via WebEx at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, October 26, 2021.
Thank you. We could have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, visible, with
liberty and justice for all.
Deputy Mayor, would you please perform the invocation?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay. As we gather here today as members of the Township Council, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community. In mind, always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build. Confidence. Let us continue to strive to make a better world.
Amen. Madam Master Clerk.
Councilman Embarrasson?
Here.
Councilman Chase?
Here.
Councilwoman Francois?
Here.
Mayor Kramer?
Here.
Councilman Oni Jaka?
Here.
Councilwoman Pruitt?
Here.
Councilwoman Udine? Deputy Mayor Vassanella?
Here.
Councilman Wright?
And Councilwoman Udine has a personal issue. I'd like to move that she have an excused absence if she does not make it to the meeting. Do we have a second?
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. And Mr. Wright will be late. He has a work commitment. He should be on relatively soon. On to the commendations and proclamations. The first one is, I hope I don't butcher this too badly, Subramani celebration, Centenary 2021 year proclamation. Councilman Ambarsar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You did very well with that name. It's a difficult name. You're making a lot of progress with the Indian names. This proclamation is to recognize a great Tamil poet that I learned lots of philosophy from him when I grew up. He is a fierce poet, fought for the independence of India. He died very young, but nevertheless, he was a great poet. So the proclamation reads like this: whereas Subramanya Bharati, a great modern Tamil poet, was born on December 11, 1882, and died on September 12, 1921. And whereas Subramanya Bharati flowered into a poet early in life, and at the age of 11, he was given the honorary title Bharati, meaning goddess of learning. And whereas his electricism brought in waves of modernism to his writings, and he wrote prose poems under the strong influence of Walt Whitman. And whereas Bharati, as a journalist, gave importance to the progressive and independent movements that took place around the world, including freedom to the Irish people, imbibed the motto of the French Revolution and supported women's equality. And whereas Bharati was a strong environmentalist, seeing the animate and the inanimate components of the world as forming as an indivisible whole. And whereas Bharati was an educationalist who taught children the importance of fearlessness. And whereas Bharati was firmly against all forms of discrimination on the basis of caste and creed, and he longed to see the banishment of poverty and hunger. And whereas Tamils all over the world are unitedly recalling his contributions to their language and literature and the human values he instilled in them to practice intolerance and coexistence with all factions of people, acknowledging and fostering pluralism. And now, therefore, we, Ram and Varison, Councilman, and Philip Kramer, Mayor of the Township of Franklin, Somerset County, New Jersey, on behalf of the Township Council, do hereby proclaim 2021 as Subramania Bharati Centenary Year in the Township of Franklin. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pruitt, you have two proclamations, Domestic Violence Awareness Month and Mental Health Awareness Month. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do want to make one slight correction, and it's my fault for just noticing it. The second one should be for World Mental Health Awareness Day. So I don't know what the procedure is on that. I can just read it correctly and we can just fix the proclamation later, or we can hold it till next meeting.
Why don't you just go with it and correct it and
Okay.
Read it the way you want and we'll just fix it later.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Obviously, there's been a lot of, definitely at least one high-profile case related to domestic violence. But I think it's more important to not just react to things in the news, but also bring awareness and hopefully in bringing awareness, provide resources to folks that may find themselves in an intimate partner violence situation. So for October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So whereas domestic violence or intimate partner violence is widespread and affects nearly 10 million Americans each year, and whereas this includes sexual violence, stalking, physical violence, and psychological aggression, and whereas according to statistics, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men in America are victims, and whereas domestic violence is a serious crime that affects people of all ages, races, genders, and socioeconomic status, and whereas children that grow up in violent homes are believed to be abused and neglected at a rate higher than the national average, and whereas in addition to the psychological and emotional toll, domestic violence costs the nation billions of dollars annually in medical expenses, police and court costs, shelters, foster care, sick leave, absenteeism, and overall non-productivity, and whereas only awareness and a coordinated community effort will shine a light on and put a stop to this criminal behavior. And whereas the Township of Franklin is committed to the safety and security of all of its residents and to prosecuting perpetrators of domestic violence, and whereas the Department of Children and Families Division on Women works collaboratively with providers statewide to provide education, awareness, services to survivors of domestic violence, and whereas services for survivors, victims, and their families include emergency shelters, 24-hour hotlines, counseling, children's services, and whereas supports and protections such as financial assistance, housing placement, address confidentiality, and legal advocacy are also available, and whereas Domestic Violence Awareness Month provides an excellent opportunity for residents to learn more about preventing domestic violence and to show support for the numerous organizations and individuals that provide critical advocacy, service, and assistance to victims and survivors. Now, therefore, we, Crystal Pruitt, Councilwoman, and Philip Kramer, Mayor of the Township of Franklin, Somerset County, New Jersey, on behalf of the Township Council, do hereby proclaim October 2021 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the Township of Franklin. So thank you. And then the second one is World Mental Health Awareness Day, which was October 10th. So with everything that's been going on for the last almost 2 years, mental health is just as serious as our physical health, and we need to be taking care of each other. So whereas mental health is a part of overall health, And whereas mental health sustains an individual's thought processes, relationships, productivity, and ability to adapt to change, and whereas 1 in 25 adults live with mental illness, such as major depression, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia, and whereas roughly 1/2 of chronic mental illness begins in the mid-teens and 3/4 by the mid-20s, and whereas early identification and treatment can make a difference in successful management of mental illness and recovery, and whereas it is important to maintain mental health and to recognize the symptoms of mental illness and seek help when it is needed, and whereas every citizen and community can help end the silence and stigma surrounding mental illness, and whereas through public education and civic activities, the Township of Franklin remains engaged in the promise to address the challenges facing people who suffer with mental illness. And whereas World Mental Health Awareness Day is an opportunity to increase public understanding of the importance of mental health and to provide the identification and treatment of mental illness. Now, therefore, we, Crystal Pruitt, Councilwoman, and Philip Kramer, Mayor, on behalf of the Township of Council of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, do hereby recognize October 10th, 2021 as World Mental Health Awareness Day in the Township of Franklin and call observance to the attention of all of our citizens. Thank you. That's all I got.
Thank you very much. Two very important issues. Thank you for bringing them to our attention. Time for public session. Do we have a motion to open?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of opening for public session, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. We are open for public session. We will be limited to 3 minutes each. May only speak once. No yielding of time. Please state your name and address. Mr. McQueen.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Anybody from the public wishing to speak, we ask to use the chat function, raise hand feature, or *3 from your telephone. Again, any member from the public wishing to speak, please use chat function, raise hand feature, or *3 from your telephone.
Mr. McQueen, while they're doing that, on the attendee list, some people have exclamation points and others don't. Do you know what that means?
It is an indicator that they have not moved on their screen, so it does not detect that they're paying attention.
I won't list who that is.
No.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I do not see anybody indicating they would like to speak.
Give it another couple of seconds.
Not even Jim Johnston.
I too see no one. Do we have a motion?
I move to close the public session.
Second.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of closing public session, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. I'm still looking. Nobody has raised their hand. Public session is closed. Got my timer ready and everything. Okay, we're on for council comments. Mr. Wright claims the position of first, but he is not here. So first on my screen is Councilman Onijaka. Councilman Onijaka, do you have a comment?
Okay, I'm sorry, I was on mute. The countryside development in District 31 was 3. Had election and elected a new president by name Bala. Bala is a good friend of mine. In fact, I was invited to the meeting, which they had on Friday. Okay, and he told me that the development, since he's the new president now, the development, they have some minor issues that they want me to be there on Sunday. Okay, so I scheduled to be there this coming Sunday. so that I will have a discussion with them and find out the issues. But along the line, they gave me 3 important issues that they want to be treated. One is the bump, the speed bump on the rolling hills there. Because of their kids goes to school, and their kids go to school, and the bus stopped by there to pick them up. Another one, I don't know if that one is possible, is the crossing light on the Route 27. I don't know much about that. I don't know how we're going to handle it. Maybe the mayor, you will look into that too with me. Another one is they want the township to approve a swimming pool for them. So this is the issue that these are the issues that I will treat with them on this coming Sunday. So Mayor, this is what I have right now, and I have a scheduled meeting with this development. That's what I have now. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Councilwoman Pruitt.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have too much to report. There was a senior advisory meeting last Friday. I will say I had a mea culpa. I misscheduled my calendar, so I missed it. So I want to publicly apologize to my seniors. But there was a senior advisory meeting. We had a public safety meeting this evening. I do want to highlight an event that is coming up. The police department, or specifically the CRB, will be partnering up with the Hamilton Street Advisory Board as well as our rec department for Trunk or Treat in Naaman Williams Park on the 30th. I'm sure you've seen the signs and the social media about it. It's moved to Naaman Williams Park to allow for better social distancing and spreading out. And the rain date is the 31st, right, Mr. Manager? You can nod. Yeah.
I'm trying to get to that mute button.
Also, just want to highlight some of the work that the CRB is doing. Obviously, many of you have been seeing on social media, the Franklin Fit program, as well as Cooking with the Cops. I just want to shout out specifically Cooking with the Cops, as it's become so popular and so in demand. It seems like they have needed to spread out, and they have moved locations to, I believe, the middle school, the Hamilton Street campus, to avail themselves of their cooking space. So it's kind of turning into almost a home ec thing. That's really exciting. The police department is also piloting a survey trial for their service. So if you are asked to complete a survey on the service that the officers provided, should they come to your home, they will ask you and explain to you what the survey is, but they're going to be trialing this survey service. So just keep that in mind. And, be honest with your feedback. It's really important to make sure that you're getting the appropriate service you need. And last weekend, the Somerset County Prosecutor's Office hosted a gun buyback program here at Franklin at First Baptist. 700 firearms were brought in. So it was pretty successful for a one-day event. So that is actually really all I have to report. I'm going to keep it short. Thanks.
Very good. Councilwoman Francois.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, Councilwoman Pruitt gave a shout out about the Trunk or Treat event this Saturday coming up for Halloween. So we're all excited about that. The youth center personnel as well as the recreation department are going to be working on that with the police department and Hamilton Street Advisory Board. So this is probably the 7th year we're doing this now. It's become somewhat of a tradition. So the kids are always looking forward to it. And so am I. I will be there. It's from 12 to 3 on Saturday, October 30th. I also wanted to give a shout out to the police because they had the pink car for Breast Cancer Awareness Month over at First Baptist Church. That too has become a tradition, and they partner with the Sister to Sister Breast Cancer Awareness group. And I'd like to say I'm happy to see that they still continue to work with Sister to Sister And that pink car that the police have around the community is a symbol, a very, what's the word I'm trying to come up with? Traditional symbol for people that have had breast cancer. It means a lot to them to be able to go up to the sign, to the car and sign their names for the loved ones that they know that have survived breast cancer or that are undergoing breast cancer treatment. So I'd like to give a shout out to the police department. That's a great community event that they continue to build on the legacy that they started over 5 years ago. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Ambarasan, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our colleague Kimberly missed a very important milestone, being very humble herself. She probably didn't want to mention it. On October 21st, she was awarded an Eleanor Roosevelt Award by the Women Federation of Somerset County Democratic Party. A nice dinner at the Elks Club Lodge at Somerville, and well attended, and kudos to Kimberly for her years of committed service, dedication to the township and the youth especially, and it was well recognized. That was on the 21st. Of course, I had the chance of seeing number 44, President Obama, last weekend in Newark. That was a great chance for me to be there. Moving on, right here in our township, the Jane Center on Cedar Grove Lane. One of the families that belong to the center, in memory of a deceased wife, the family donated $1 million to Rutgers University to establish a program in the study of Jainism, which is their religion. And they mentioned that in about 5 years, they are committing another $500,000 to expand that program to a full professorship. So that was a great event. See that philanthropy going from our neighborhood to Rutgers University. Financial Oversight Committee took place yesterday. We had an information and discussion about upcoming insurance program renewals. And upcoming meeting on the 27th, our Human Relations Commission coming up. I think we are going to discuss celebrating Diwali, another festival celebrated by Indians, all Indians, a national holiday. And this year we are planning to, the HRC is planning to join hands with the Interfaith Council and the temple, Swaminarayan Temple on DeMott Lane across our municipal complex. And last but not least, this Saturday, Governor McGreevy and Senator Booker are scheduled to come into town promoting early voting. Any Somerset County voter can vote early until the 9th, until the 1st. 10 days of extra in-person voting, first time available in New Jersey. So they are coming to our town to promote early voting. That's this Saturday. That's all I've got, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilman Chase.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I'm happy to report that the Historic Preservation Commission on Monday night approved the installation of the new play equipment at the Kingston Green. Unfortunately, we discovered that Historic Commission approval would be necessary since it's within the historic district, but all is now well and installation should start on November 8th. More than 20 years ago, Franklin and South Brunswick and the state established gave a center designation to Kingston. And as part of that, two townships formed a Kingston Village Advisory Committee to advise both townships on matters of importance to Kingston, such as the replacement of the playground equipment. And I would add that one thing the Historic Commission recommended was that the Shade Tree Commission plant new trees along Union Street at the front of the green to replace some which were dying and were cut down a couple of years ago. The state of New Jersey is finally, after many postponements, is finally ending the center status for Kingston. Renewing it would involve a great deal of work for both townships, to just paperwork with very little added value. So instead, we're going to end at the end of the year the formal center designation, but we want to maintain the Kingston Village Advisory Committee, and ordinances to this effect, which should be essentially identical, are in preparation in both townships, so that I hope that before the end of the year, the council will pass such an ordinance. And finally, last Saturday, there was a vaccination event at the park at the back of Princeton Highlands, which unfortunately got terminated very early. But I'm happy to report that we will have another vaccination there beginning at 1 o'clock this Saturday. Perhaps I'm stealing your thunder, Mr. Mayor. You probably would have announced it if I didn't. But anyway, anybody particularly from the southern end of the township, and especially from Princeton Highlands, particularly anybody who still needs first vaccinations, but also people who are eligible for booster shots, either being over 65 or being immunocompromised, or working at jobs which are likely to meet a great many people, some one of whom might be infectious, would be eligible to receive booster shots of all three varieties of Pfizer, Moderna, and J&J at that location. And I know Mr. Mayor is going to have a town hall on Thursday night to discuss booster shots, and we'll learn more about
Now you're stealing my thunder.
values. What?
Now you're stealing my thunder.
Okay. But it just in connection with booster shots, I couldn't
No,
avoid.
that's fine.
I think that's everything that I can think of. I imagine there's a good deal of closed roads along. I know parts of Canal Road were closed today due to flooding, due to the rains. I hope they're mostly open by now. I'm sure the Greekstown and Blackwell's Mills causeways are not. The Millstone River was predicted to crest at 10.4 feet at the Blackwell's Mills gauging station, which might put it up to the level of the canal there. But we'll see in the morning. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Vasanella.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I know it's already been mentioned. I just want to mention Trunk or Treat. This is the first year we're doing a name in Williams, and I think that would be a great place. Hopefully we can use it going forward. Reminded me of, I think we used to also do an Easter parade many years ago with the Hamilton Street. And I remember the late Pat Giannato going out, and I think he was giving little silver dollar, not silver, but dollar coins to the kids. Anyway, those events really are enjoyable. And I think even for a lot of the parents or adults also, and adults also. So Councilwoman Pruitt already filled us in on events or the relevant information from our Public Safety Committee meeting tonight. One other meeting I attended since we last met was a board meeting at a Central Jersey Housing Resource Center. I wanted to mention, I thought it was worth mentioning, they received their largest ever in their 30, I believe about 30-year history, largest ever single donation. I don't know if it's official yet, so I don't want to mention the institution. They have a lot of support in banking and real estate, obviously dealing with housing and whatnot. So it was good. It's going to allow the Resource Center, Housing Resource Center, which I'm on the board of, to provide some additional rental, I believe rental and mortgage assistance for people that are trying to get over this, I guess the last hump here, hopefully for many concerning, financial issues relevant to COVID. So it's a wonderful thing. And when it's official, I'll acknowledge the donor there. That's pretty much it. Enjoy trunk or treat or whatever you decide to do. Oh, I did want to mention one thing, whatever you do for Halloween, and be safe and have fun. Storm drains, I noticed today, although we have this adopt a drain program that's coming down the road. In the meanwhile, anything that in front or near your house that you feel safe cleaning out, please keep an eye on. I noticed today because of the leaves, not that they've all dropped, but enough that they start clogging up drains, especially when water from the sub pumps are running in the street, curb lines. So anyway, do what you can safely. And the township, of course, is running the leaf program, which will, I think, start. Manager in his report could let us know, but I think is starting sometime in November, where we pick up the leaves if they're put in the brown bags properly. I think it's on Mondays, but the manager could fill us in on that schedule. That's it, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, it's Election Day on Tuesday the 2nd. Please remind people about the Armory.
Yes, the Armory will not be a polling location for the general election. Districts 35, 36, 38, and 42 will be relocated to the East Franklin Firehouse, which is 121 Pine Grove Street. And District 37 has been located to the Senior Center at 505 Demont Lane. Postcards went out. There's information on the website and social media.
And there will be signs at the Armory.
There'll be a sign at the Armory redirecting any voters that come there to their new polling location for just this election.
Good. Thank you. As Mr. Chase mentioned, Winding Way, vaccinations 1 o'clock on Sunday. The end of Winding Way comes off or is at the southern part of town near Route 27. And Dr. Nahas, the head of infectious disease at Somerset Hospital, will be joining me for the town hall meeting. A true expert on vaccinations, and I have many questions myself for vaccination boosters and strategies, etc. Happy Halloween to everyone. Everyone please vote. And Mr. Manager, what do you have for us?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just quickly, a reminder that on November 11th being Veterans Day, the Township Veterans Day ceremony will be held at the Veterans Monument in front of the municipal building from 10:30 to 11:30. I will not repeat Halloween again. I think we've covered Halloween quite well today. And yes, Halloween is from 12 to 3 on Saturday for the park, or Name of Williams Park. I know from looking at the attendees that Bill Bowman from the Franklin Reporter and Advocate is on. Bill, I know you won't be able to answer me, but, or acknowledge it. I did get your email. I apologize. I was not in the office. I had some personal matters I had to take care of today, and I didn't see your email till late, but I will report what Bill was asking me about. And that was that it was announced today that the township received the New Jersey Department of Transportation Municipal Aid Grant for the paving of Demont Lane from New Brunswick Road to Amwell Road in a total of $348,000. So, Bill, thank you for that tip to me, and I was able to see that, and I will give you the answers to your questions tomorrow morning. And Mr. Mayor, that's all I have for right now.
Great. I'm sure Mr. Bowman appreciates you spreading his story all over the airwaves. Okay. And now the meeting begins. Approval of the minutes. There are none submitted. Approval of the warrants. Time to pay the bills in the amount of $3,009,096.25 on October 26th are presented to Township Council for payment. Do I have a motion on the warrants?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Anyone want to pull a warrant, discuss a warrant, quiz the manager? Hearing none. Madam Clerk.
Councilman Embarrasson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella.
Yes.
The warrants are paid. We now have a public hearing and second reading on ordinance 435121. An ordinance to amend code of the Township of Franklin, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particular chapter 226 Vehicles and Traffic, section 226-28 Speed Limits, Pleasant Plains Road and Union Street is presented for public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing has been noticed as required. Do we have a motion to open to the public on this item only?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of opening public session, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Public session is open. This item only. 3 minutes, may only speak once. Please state your name and address, no yielding of time. Mr. McQueen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anybody from the public wishing to speak on this ordinance? We ask you use the chat function, raise hand feature, or *3 from your telephone. Again, any member from the public wishing to speak on this ordinance, please use the chat function, raise hand feature, or *3 from your telephone. Mr.
I
Mayor, I
see
do not
no one.
see anybody indicating they'd like to speak.
I agree.
Seeing no one coming forward to speak, I'll motion to close the public portion of the hearing on this ordinance.
Second.
Moved in second, and all in favor of closing public hearing, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. I still don't see anybody raising their hands, so public session is closed. Do I have a motion on the item?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the item? Madam Clerk.
Councilman Embarrasson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella.
Yes.
It's interesting. With COVID, we've made a lot fewer laws. Government has stayed out of the way. We are now up to the consent agenda, items A through H. I'm sorry, there's no first readings. Consent agenda A through H is listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting, are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Anyone want to pull an item?
Mayor, I request that you have a separate vote for item H, which has to do with the awarding of the block grants.
Okay, any council person can pull an item to be voted on separately or discuss an item. Councilman Vasanella has done so. Anyone else? So, Madam Clerk, on items A through G.
Councilman Embarrasson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella.
Yes.
So now we have three items to be voted on separately. One is item H, Resolution 21-362, authorize the 2021 CDB sub-grant agreements, CDBG, sorry, sub-grant agreements. Do we have a motion on that?
So moved.
Second.
I think that was a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Embarrasson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella.
Abstain, please.
And that concludes the vote. You don't have to, but do you wish to explain why you abstained?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mayor. Yes, I'm abstaining because one of the recipients of the block grants is the Central Jersey Housing Resource Center, which I mentioned earlier, which I am on the board member, so felt best to abstain from the vote.
Thank you. The next resolution to be voted on separately is an add-on. That's why it's being voted on separately. 21-364. I guess we have no 363. Resolution authorizing the addendum to competitive contract Aspire Consulting Services LLC for administering the ARPA funds, additional amount not to exceed $40,000 per year, $69 per hour. To have a motion.
The motion.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Mayor, I just have a question. Township manager, what is that?
This is to amend the contract with Aspire Consulting. That's Deborah Mitchell, her corporate name.
Oh, that's her corporate name. Okay.
That's her consulting firm's name to
Okay.
administer the American Rescue Plan Act.
I wasn't clear what that was.
I
Thank you.
had a feeling that's why you're asking me.
Okay.
Any other discussion on the item? Madam Clerk, do your thing.
Councilman Embarrasson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella.
Yes.
Item 21-365, another add-on. Resolution 21-365, award bid, Town Hall sidewalk construction, T. Vitakis Construction, amount not to exceed $39,000, $39,050. To have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? I think it's fairly self-explanatory. This is for in front of the municipal building.
That's correct, yes.
Long needed. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Embarrasson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilwoman Francois,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Councilman Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Vasanella.
Yes.
16, old business, 2021 boards, committees, commissions, vacancies. Do we have any nominations? Hearing and seeing none, we will move on. We do have an executive session, authorized executive session, contract negotiations, collective bargaining, AFS CME 2859, white collar clericals is presented to Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Moved. Second.
All in favor of going into executive session, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. We shall go into executive session. There's going to be no further actions after executive session. So the recording of the recording of the meeting will end. This concludes the recording. Be well, Franklin.